Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of jakestake.com, a pop culture and entertainment news website. I am thrilled to welcome my next guest in this edition. He has over 14,600 Instagram followers. He's the star of Mark of the Killer, and he also stars as the lead of the Man in Action web series. Please help me welcome Lucas Hyde.
What's up? I'm glad to be here, man. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much for taking time in your schedule to be with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so absolutely, it's a great way to start a day. And also, I just want to let you know, so you actually started out in fitness before we go any further. So when did you get interested in fitness, and how did that passion evolve to the desire of going into the world of competitive bodybuilding?
So that started actually later than most usually do. I never really worked out in high school or anything. I played some sports, but nothing crazy. Never hit the weights. And then I went to college, and as a freshman in college, I was probably like 145, maybe 50 pounds, and I'm 6'1", so I was like a skeleton basically. And honestly, I went to the gym out of boredom. Me and my best friend lived together in the dorm, and we were bored to death. Besides class and everything, we decided to go to the gym. And I didn't know at all what I was doing. I didn't know anything about dieting, exercising, form, anything like that. And I slowly became obsessed with it, I guess is the right word, because I started to see my body transform. And then, I was just obsessed, and I took it even further, started to understand the aspect of dieting, because that's the most important part. And I just really loved being able to change and sculpt my body into what I wanted. It was like a real live work of art. Not that I'm a work of art, but it's just sculpting, and it was so much fun. And for there, just the obsession grew and the passion for it grew. And that's what led me into competitive bodybuilding. But what I love about it most was the discipline that it gave me. That was something new to me, and that I didn't realize how important discipline was in all aspects of life. So for like the contest prep, they're usually about 12 weeks, and then it's the show day. And when you do that, you basically have to rid your life of anything that doesn't serve you. So I learned that and the art of that, and ended up applying that to all aspects of my life. And it took me to higher levels, and it just a huge, I guess, self-improvement, and just it caused me to rid my life of any distractions or just anything that was meaningless and didn't support what I was chasing after, whatever goal that might be. So I started competing, and I actually met a really good guy. We became best friends. He was from Saudi Arabia. He competed before, and he became my coach and walked me through that and taught me everything I needed to know. And it was just a strange addiction, because it's tough to compete. It's very hard on your mind and body, but I love that aspect of it, and it just taught me mental toughness and like I said, discipline. That was the greatest thing I took away from it. I still work out relentlessly, diet, everything. I just don't compete anymore. I had my fun with it, and now I like to stay in shape and just focus on that, more on the acting side of things now. So that's a brief history of it, but it was probably the greatest thing I fell into. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome. So you're not just went into bodybuilding, but however, you're also a former world champion with archery as well. And
yes.
Well, how did you get into archery? Because it's very interesting. Your story, you have a very interesting story, Lucas.
Thank you. So archery. So I was born and raised in a small town in Kentucky called Cadiz, Kentucky. And it's exactly like what you see in the movies. Like, there's more cows than people. It's very, very like under a rock, but it's the greatest place ever. I love it. So we actually had an archery program. We were one of the pilot schools back when I was in elementary school, and it started to pick up. But as most people assume, hunting and fishing is very popular there. I love to hunt and bow hunt, and I've done that all my life. So when they brought archery into the school, I was like, you mean to tell me I can shoot my bow at school? That's a dream. So I went straight to it. Instead of playing football, basketball, or anything, I shot archery. And we, like I said, we were the pilot school for it, so we were one of the first schools to actually do this. And then the tournament started to grow. We started to travel all over the country and shooting everywhere, tournaments all over the place. And it just grew, and I ended up, in our high school years, that's when we started going to like the national tournament and the world tournament. And we won the world tournament 3 times and all that. But it was fun. And it's a very, like, it's strange. I didn't realize how like, I guess, strange it was, because it's not as a popular sport like football or anything everywhere else. But I'm very proud of it. It was a lot of fun, and that also taught me a lot of discipline. But I got to meet a lot of people and just shoot all over the world, and it was fun. So yeah, I still love it. I miss it. I don't get to, shoot my bow or hunt out here anymore, but when I go home, I still try to. But yeah, that was a fun part of my life.
I think so. Besides, you could have been Hawkeye.
Yeah, I know, right? Maybe it'll play into my acting career. Hopefully, that would be a lot of fun. So,
and speaking of acting, so when did you get interested in acting?
So that's another thing. So I moved to California in 2018 when I graduated, and I actually moved out here to work for Gulfstream Aerospace. So I was an environmental health and safety engineer for Gulfstream Aerospace, and I'd never been to California. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know a single person out here. And I got a job offer from them and said, sure, why not? I want to see the world. The world is much larger than my small hometown in Kentucky. So I just took the leap of faith and came out here. And like I said, I didn't know anyone out here. So I had a lot of alone time and a lot of time to just think and be with myself. And that can be dangerous sometimes, because when we get idle, it just, your mind is a powerful thing. So you got to use it wisely. But so I had a lot of alone time, didn't have any friends out here yet. And when I wasn't at work or working out, I had nothing else to do. And I'd always been fascinated by acting, but at home there's no opportunity for that. I mean, it's just farmland out there. There's no, you're not getting any acting gigs back home. So I decided to throw my hat in the ring, and I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know anything. And there's different apps and platforms you can join and get breakdowns. So I joined that and got some different gigs. And then I realized that I actually love it a lot, and there's a lot of fun. I knew that I had a lot to learn to improve myself as a performer and everything, and I still do. But so yeah, that I kind of developed a passion for it while I was working at Gulfstream. So when I wasn't working there, I was booking gigs, and then I would use my vacation time to go film somewhere or whatever, and it just grew. And then actually in last October, they announced that they were having a layoff, and in my head, I was like, please, 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 this, I trusted. I was like, hey, if I get laid off, it is what it is. I have something that I want to pursue. And at the meantime, I had some gigs going on that I used as a sign. So I was still working at Gulfstream, and I took a week off to go film something. And I had a lot of confusion. And I was just praying about it. I was like, hey, I need a sign. Is this something am I wasting my time? Am I crazy for trying to, chase after this far-fetched dream or whatever? So I just stick to my guns. I have a college degree in this and stick in the corporate world. And I took a week off to go film this gig with Murk the Killer. And it was like 105 degrees. And we're filming in Tennessee, and we were supposed to be in Alaska. So we're in full winter get up when it's 100 degrees outside. So it was really hot, sweaty, whatever. But not once was I checking my watch. I had a blast filming it. We filmed 12 hours a day. It was so much fun. And to me, I just used that as a sign. I was like, yes, I have a lot to learn and a lot to improve on, but this is something I really want to chase after. So fast forward, October, they announced they're having a layoff, and I was the young guy on the totem pole, bottom guy on the totem pole, and I got out. And but it was a blessing in disguise. I trusted it. I never, freaked out after that. As soon as that happened, I moved to downtown LA because I lived in Long Beach to work for Gulfstream. And I moved to downtown, and everything kind of fell into place. Shortly after that, that's when I booked a gig for China, and which is kind of a segue into another conversation. But yeah, it's been a wild ride since I forgot why I got into this whole thing. Oh, acting. Okay. Yeah. So that's how I got into acting, was this whole mess of things. I didn't even come out here for it. And it just I got thrown into it, and I trusted it. And I'm still trusting it and still working on it. And it's just a craft that I feel like I can take everything that I've done, the archery, the bodybuilding, everything, all of my life experience, even though I'm still pretty young, I can use that for this craft, and it's something that's you never master it. You just keep learning, and that's why I love it, because I just felt very, very stuck in the corporate world. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's great and it pays the bills, but just for me, I was like, this doesn't serve me. It isn't me. I felt like I was doing myself a disservice and couldn't shine a light into the world by being there, and I'm trusting it. So yeah, that's where we are now, and that's what I'm pursuing full time now. So
awesome. So I want to bring up China, because I remember that in conversation, because our mutual friend is a previous Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast guest, Paul Kruger, and he has stated that you two met while you were filming in China, and just as the COVID-19 pandemic started. So what was going through your mind when you were in China and when it was announced that that about this pandemic? So what was going through your mind as you were filming and working? Gotcha.
So we got to China in early January, and this whole thing was just a leap of faith as well. There was very little communication. We were like, is this real? How legit is this? And I didn't know anyone going. I didn't know anybody at all, and I just met these guys as we got there. It was a great group of guys. And we get there, and the first item of business was to go through military training, because it was a war movie. So we're going through the full thing. We're doing very, very physical training all day. And, we did training for about 2 weeks. It was all day, every day. And then one day, COVID wasn't a thing yet. This was still in January, so this didn't exist. And they said there was like a bug going around, whatever. We didn't think anything of it, because we were just working every day and doing our best to just get this movie made. And one day they sent us home early from training, and it was very strange. We were like, we don't really know what this is. And we'd seen a couple guys get sick, but we just thought, hey, it was freezing cold. It was snowing. So we're like, of course people are going to get sick. And they sent us home early, and they told us just don't leave the hotel. And we weren't really sure what was going on. And then they announced there was this virus going on, which still I don't think it had a name at that point. And it wasn't in our province in China yet, but they were putting us on lockdown. And so we basically were locked in our hotel, and we're just waiting. We didn't know what was going on. So at first, personally, I didn't really have any fear. It was strange being in a country where, this is a very, very remote part of China. They never really seen us before, and they were not exposed to any outsiders really. And it was strange. We were just kind of like, okay, whatever, it'll pass over. We weren't sure. And then as the days went on with minimal communication, we're like, all right, this is weird. And we started hearing news from back home, and we're like, what are we doing? We got to get out of China. We still didn't really freak out, but we just didn't understand that it was going to be this worldwide pandemic. It was very big there at the time, and we were locked in. So we've pretty much been on lockdown since the whole year of 2020 in January, because we were there. We're like, I don't know what this is. I'm just ready to get back home. And we just did what we could. We took vitamin C tablets. We just normal hygiene things. We're like, I treated it like the flu. It's like, just take care of yourself and you'll be fine. And I didn't really, worry myself too much, because worrying doesn't do any good anyway. So then we finally get back home, and perfect. We're at peace, because it hadn't really broke out here yet. So we come back home. We're not on lockdown anymore. And I don't even think it was a month. And then it hit here. And then it seems like we've just been on lockdown ever since. So China was a crazy experience. It was a lot of fun. Met a lot of great people. To say we were there when the whole thing broke out is just it's mind blowing. It's crazy to think about, but it was a lot of fun, all said and done. So, well, I'm glad that you had that experience, and that must have been a movie within itself. It was like Tropic Thunder almost. We were there to film a movie, and then it was madness kind of. It was definitely something I'll never forget. That's for sure. All right, so I want to talk to you about two of your films, Murk of a Killer and Into the Dark. So what were some similarities and differences between each of these roles? So I'll address Into the Dark first. That was more or less like a glorified featured role. Just like it was just a quick raw play. I played like a bartender. So there wasn't really much in that. I just kind of showed up and was kind of almost background basically. But the Mark of the Killer thing was more where I kind of got to, have more free reign over it. That one was a lot of fun. So I played the show Mark of the Killer. They do episodes on real life serial killers, and they, present all the information and tell their story and how they were caught or weren't caught, and all the facts about them. And so this was really like my first project that I really got to work on. And I got to play a guy, his last name's Hansen. It's Mark. It's Mark Hansen, I believe. And so I got to study this guy, and I'd never really got to dive into that world. And it was fun and also like kind of scary at the same time. But you got to study this guy because he was a real person. So there's all this material out there. You get to study this guy and understand. Like I learned everything about him, his early life. I'm thankful there was so much information on him. So I kept a journal and everything and just wrote all the details of his early life and how, you try to figure out, like get in his head, like why did he turn out the way he did? And as you see his whole life, like hindsight's 20/20, but as you see his life play out, it's like it kind of makes sense. Like you see all these factors that play into it. And it was very, very cool to explore that. And by the way, that was the gig that was a sign for me that I used as a sign to like, okay, I want to do this. But so I just, immersed myself into this world, learned everything about this guy, and I looked like him. It was scary because that's why I got the part. So when I shaved and wore these glasses, I had my hair a certain way, I looked exactly like him, which was kind of weird. But just to dive into that world, like in acting, you get permission to do things that you don't normally get to do. Like I'm normally just me, but in this acting world, you get to take on this whole other persona of this guy that's just did terrible things. But I mean, the story needs to be told. And so I learned so much about him and just tried to do my best to bring him to life. And honestly, that was a lot of fun. It was so much fun in a twisted way, but it was cool to be a part of that project. And they let us run with it, and I got to learn so much about it, and it helped me grow and understand that to bring these people to life, you have to understand and not really have sympathy for a guy like that, but just kind of understand why he did what he did. And it's a fascinating world. It was very cool to just learn so much about him and try to just understand someone's mentality and because I try to, see the good in the world and think that, no one's really capable of that, but they are. And it's just, we need to identify. And it was just a cool project, a lot of fun. I know I'm rambling, but it was fun. And it's just a great time to create that.
Awesome. So I want to talk to you about Man of Action. It's a really good web series. I watched I watched the episodes. It's really good. You guys have done a phenomenal job. So can you describe both the series and your character to my audience?
Yes. So Paul Kruger came to me with this idea of Man of Action. And basically it's kind of like a James Bond style thing where this guy, he works for this agency, Tom Cross, which is my character. And he works for this agency who is corrupt, but he doesn't know that. And then he comes to know that. And basically, it ends up being him versus the agency, and he's trying to be a symbol of hope and take down, the bad side of things. And the story's unfolding right now. It was a lot of fun to work with Paul on that. Like you said, we met in China, so we were really good friends, but we got to get to really know each other, and it's fun to work with people like that and you're just so comfortable with each other, and you can explore these new things, which we're learning as we go. But it's a cool story. I mean, I personally drew a lot of parallels from it. So Tom is kind of trapped in this corporate world kind of thing where, the corporation owns him and he's disposable. And they send him on these missions that are just, they're basically, he's probably going to die when he goes out on them. And for me, it's like, I drew some parallels and sympathized with him because it just seems like, I feel like everyone should have something a purpose that they live for. We all have visions and things in our head that, we have a purpose, and I think you should stand for that and not just go with the flow and build someone else's dream and pay your bills, whatever. I think we all have something great we could give to the world, and you got to stand up against anything that opposes that. But yeah, I'm getting very philosophical on it. In the end, it's just a good old-fashioned action series, and it was a lot of fun to make. And we're all growing. All the cast and crew were definitely growing and becoming better performers and all of that. But it was a blast, and I'm excited to see where it goes. And season 2 is in the talks, so that's good. That'll be fun. It'll be fun to bring that to life. So yeah,
that's pretty cool. So this is my third to last question. So what are some of your favorite social media channels, and why do they stand out? Like Facebook, TikTok, Instagram.
I like Instagram a lot. Instagram, and can I say YouTube?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, those two. I use Facebook, but it's more or less to stay in touch with my family. I don't use it as much. I don't have TikTok. Instagram and YouTube I use absolutely the most by far. But I mean, I think all social media is great. So which ones do I like and why? Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why? I mean, I think they're all great. I know everybody has their preference, and I think they're a great platform to put out a message, whatever your message is. Like I said, I think everyone has something inside them they can give to the world. Whether or not you choose to act on it, that's up to you. But it's a great platform, and ultimately my goal in life, long term, just my whole purpose of being here is to leave a legacy that outlives me. Like do something, create something that impacts generations far, down the road, that long after I'm gone, and just shine a light in this world. There's a lot of negativity going on. There's a lot of things going on that we don't understand, and things that, are kind of dark in the world. And social media, sometimes it can be a joke, or sometimes you can use it to really impact people. And it's a really great way to communicate and also to create nowadays. And I mean, look at us now. We're all basically locked in, and all we can turn to is we all need some form of entertainment. And that's a great platform. Any of them, any platform of social media is great. And I turn to them for entertainment and use them to create and just put a message out there. None of us know how long we'll be here, so I think we should use our time wisely to put a positive message out there, whatever that is. And I mean, I know like Chadwick Boseman, he just passed away, and that was hard, but it was rough. And Kobe, I mean, it's been a rough year, but Chadwick, I think he is somebody you could model. Like he's very inspiring for me, because he showed up and he did his thing. He left a legacy that's going to impact people forever. And like that's something that I want more than anything, is just to, whatever that is just put that out there and hope that it can impact someone to see the good in the world and see the good in themselves, and then just keep pushing that on, that everyone, we can make a difference in this crazy world. We're better than what we've been doing and all the crazy things that have been happening. So that's a long answer for what platforms I like, but that's why I like them, because I think you can really do some good with them and make an impact, even though you can have fun with it, but you can do a lot of things with it. So just develop the platform and use that to give back and help people. Yeah.
All righty. So if you had the opportunity to meet with other fitness professionals who want to transfer into the acting world, what advice would you share with them?
I would say, one, don't overthink it, but you should also take the time to learn the craft and really understand how to tell the story, get the schooling, the training. I'm in a great place. I mean, we're like in the mecca of the entertainment world, and there's a lot of great places to learn out here. And just really take the time to master yourself, like your body, your soul, everything. That's your instrument for acting. So understand how to use that. And I think you should be smart about the choices you make with, as far as choosing the roles and the projects, and use those projects. Like I said, the whole speech I just gave about, impacting the world and leaving a legacy, you can do that with what you create, whether it's acting, singing, whatever form of art it is. Just really get familiar with yourself and understand the impact you want to make in the story you want to tell, and then choose your projects accordingly. Just stay positive. Don't have an ego at all. There's always room to learn and grow. I'm still learning and growing, and And my last performance is not my best performance. It's like you always keep growing and growing. So just stay humble, work hard, and just be persistent. Like there's a saying, if you hang around the barbershop long enough, you'll get a haircut. I heard it from Denzel Washington, but out here, it's a jungle out here. And if you want to make it, you have to stay persistent. I think you have to stay disciplined and just work very hard and just keep, grinding, keep chipping away at it. And you will be served, and you can make a difference with it. And use your platform wisely. So that's all I can say about it, really.
All right, Lucas, last question. Where can my audience find you?
Instagram, my name is I Am Hyde. So that's my last name. I have a southern accent, so you might not understand it, but I am Hyde. And that's really my main platform, Facebook, Lucas Hyde. Those two, yeah, that's really where you can find me. That's where I put out some of my content, and you can see what I create. And yeah, that's me. I really appreciate you having me.
You're so welcome, Lucas. Now, also, guys, don't forget you can download episodes of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Spreaker. Once again, just type in on those platforms Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR, and then you'll download my further conversations. And also, please don't forget to subscribe to my social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, all Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. And to visit Jake, make sure you visit jakestake.com for my articles, more interviews, and also reviews of America's Got Talent and recaps of The Masked Singer, and also music reviews as well. So make sure you guys go to jakestake.com. Once again, jakes-take.com. Lucas, you were a great guest. I'm so happy that you took time of your day to speak with me.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. It's cool to have this platform, and I appreciate what you're doing, man. You're doing a great thing.
Thank you, Lucas. And guys, I will see you on the next episode. Have a great day, guys. Bye.